Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, Learn With Me. In today's video, I'll be talking about an author, a famous author, who wrote amazing books like Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Mansfield Park, Emma, Persuasion, and so on. And she is... Jane Austen. Okay, let's start. First, we'll be talking about her early life. Jane was born on December 16, 1775, in a village of Steventon in Hampshire. She began to write as a teenager, and in 1801 her family moved to Bath. After the death of Jane's father in 1805, Jane, her sister Cassandra, and her mother Cassandra moved several times and eventually settled down in Chawton near Steventon. Family. Jane was one of 8 children. Jane's father's name was George Austen. Jane's mother's name was Cassandra Austen. Jane Austen had 6 brothers, and their names were Henry Austen, James Austen, Edward Austen, and Francis Austen, Charles Austen, and George Austen. You might have noticed one of her brother and her father have the same name, George Austen. And Jane had one sister, and she was named after her mother, Cassandra, and her name is Cassandra Austen. And it's very common back in those days to have kids named after their parents or their grandparents. And it kind of happens nowadays too, to name kids after their parents or grandparents. Work. Nearly until the age of 36, Jane was dependent on her parents for money. With her first book published, she started earning money. With the help of her brother Henry, Jane published her first book, Sense and Sensibility, in the year 1811. After that, she published the book Pride and Prejudice, which she wrote as a child. Mansfield Park was published in 1814. Then she published Emma in 1816. Then she published the book Emma was dedicated to Prince Reginald, an admirer of her work. All of Jane's books were published anonymously, and I'm going to go into that with detail later. And here, there are the names of her book. The first one is Sense and Sensibility. Next is Pride and Prejudice. After that is Mansfield Park, then it's Emma, then it's Northanger Abbey, then it's Persuasion. And next, sorry, I missed a part there. Yeah, it's known that Jane Austen was the only woman who published anything worth of reading before the 19th century. Marriage. Although Jane wrote 6 novels about love, she never married. All of Jane's heroines in her stories married and fell in love with the perfect man, but Jane wasn't so lucky herself. She only received one known marriage proposal. This unexpected proposal came from Harris Bigwither, brother of some of her friends, who was heir to an estate. At first, Jane was tempted to accept this offer, but soon changed her mind because she knew she wouldn't be happy with a man she did not love. Death. Jane Austen died on July 18th, 1817 at the age of 41. According to historians, Jane died of a rare disease called Addison disease. Jane's last words was spoken to her sister, and her last words were, "I want nothing but death." And it's known, I feel, in my opinion, that she said that because Addison's disease gave her so much pain that she felt that death was better than this pain. Quote. There are a lot of Jane Austen's quotes, but one of my most favorite and one of my personal favorite is this one, "Pictures of perfection make me sick and wicked" by Jane Austen. Interesting Jane Austen facts. Jane Austen published her books anonymously. I told you I'll get back to this, so here it is. So, Jane was born in a time period where women were expected to be wives and mothers and absolutely nothing else. I mean it, absolutely nothing. So it's valid she wanted to publish her books anonymously. And here, if you see, it says, "by a lady" in this novel here. So yeah. Jane Austen wrote 6 books. So Jane wrote 6 books and only 4 of them were published when she was alive. And the other 2 were published after her death by her family, and her brother Henry revealed her identity to the world as the author of the books. And I've told you the names of the books, but still I'll read it out again. Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Mansfield Park, Emma, Persuasion, And I forgot the last one. Northanger Abbey. There you go. Okay, next. Jane Austen's love stories. First, there was Tom Lefroy, an Irish nephew of a close family friend, Anne Lefroy. Tom came from a wealthy family, although he and Jane began to fall in love. But the problem was, if Tom married someone from a lower social status to them, he would lose the inheritance. When Anne knew about this affair, she immediately took Tom back to Ireland. Next, Jane had a summer of love with the clergyman / a priest in Devon during the summer of 1801. Jane fell in love with him, and the clergyman's name was Samuel Blackell. Samuel made plans to visit the Austen family as soon as he could. Jane took this as a sign that he would propose, and she was excited and thrilled. Sadly, he died before he could visit the family. That's it, guys, for today's video. Please do like, share, subscribe to my channel, and do comment down below about what you thought about this video and about any advice that I should get about the way I should talk, maybe points I should add on, or about what I should do my next video about, like a famous personality I should do my video about. And do tell me how this video was, and please do share what you think about this video in the comment section below.